This is my cousin's ranch in southwest Texas. It's been in the family for 4 generations. My great-grandfather acquired it back in 1924. I started coming here in 1965 when I was 7 years old, usually around Christmas. Back then, it was all guys. My uncle and cousins, my brother, me and my dad. I didn't get my first buck until I was 12 years old. That's my Uncle David there beside me. He's the one that really opened this place up to me. He taught me so many things, but even more importantly, he allowed me to learn things on my own. In many ways, I was closer to him than I was to my dad, which is why my son is named David. The things I've learned here have made me who I am. And every time I come here, I learn something new. One of the great things about the ranch is that you learn life lessons. And one of the most true and universal lessons of life is that the most dangerous thing is a dull knife. When a knife is sharp, it takes less effort to use. You never have to force the blade to make a cut. The knife is easy to control and therefore safer to handle. If you take care of your equipment and know how to use it, when the time comes, your equipment will take care of you. One thing about the ranch, you never know what you're going to find. I'd like to see how this guy got up here. Looks like maybe he's eating something here, maybe a mouse. I think this is a Mexican milk snake, maybe? It's not venomous, but it'll freak you out, you know, if you just came walking up here to fire up the grill. That's for sure. This is what's called brush country. Some people look and see a wasteland. It can be stark at times, and almost everything out here has some kind of thorn on it. But it's wonderful and has its own special beauty. Sure, in the winter, when things are dormant, it can look pretty bleak. But just add some rain and sunshine, and bang! There is an explosion of life and color. The wildlife out here is also amazing. There are all the animals you imagine when you think of South Texas. And we have pigs. That's a big pig. And believe it or not, we have alligators. Big alligators and little alligators. Wherever you look, there is something unique and beautiful. All you have to do is see it. Another thing you learn at the ranch is that actions have consequences. Every decision you make, every step you take, determines your success or failure. Every time you pull the trigger, there is a consequence. Either you hit or miss.
All right, finally got one. Sow, neck shot, or high head shot, can't really tell from here, but not a bad pig, not a bad pig at all.
When you hit, you now have a moral responsibility. If you take a life, you owe it to that animal to retrieve it, properly process it, and consume it. My freezer at home is stocked with wild game. This is truly the culmination of a successful hunt, a healthy, nutritious family meal of a properly harvested game animal. And it's delicious. One thing hunting teaches you is to be still. If you're fidgety or moving around all the time, animals will notice you. But if you are quiet and still, you are just part of the landscape. You start to notice things on different scales. Grand perspectives down to tiny details. This is how I became a bird watcher, passing the time while waiting for deer by watching the birds. One day, I even got to watch a thirsty indigo snake. Another time, I noticed a dung beetle doing what dung beetles do. Then about 10 feet away, I noticed another. Then another, and another, and another. Then I realized I was probably watching a ton of dung being rolled across acres of land. Being still is more than just the physical. It's being truly in the moment. Understanding and experiencing your connection to the world and yourself.